there are no comments about the topic, we can move to the final working group of CME CPD. Patrick? Reporter, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. This group yesterday afternoon, there were 8 delegates from France, Spain, Portugal, Malta, Italy, Czech Republic, Switzerland, and our guest from UM's, Mark Hermans from Belgium, was also there. We had apologies from Henry. The initial part of the meeting was following a small workshop that was held at the CMGF conference in Paris in April, where Patrick and Henry ran a workshop with lots of representation from multiple countries and a lot of younger doctors. And I'm going to feedback the initial results of that, because that fed the discussion yesterday. They made a comment, though, about how they recognise the diversity of CME programs across Europe and the world. There was a comment from an Australian who couldn't believe we didn't have a unified system across Europe. So yesterday we listened to Patrick's results of a little pilot he ran following the workshop in Paris on the criteria for CME platforms. We considered what's currently happening across the countries in Europe and what potentially might be needed moving forward. And then we considered what the next steps might be for UAMO. So at the workshop in Paris, they asked the question, I think Patrick phrased it like this. He said, in Wonderland, what would the perfect CME system look like? And the feedback from the group suggested that time was really important, that people want secured time for CPD, CME, that it should be compensated, and financial disincentives should be removed. And they wanted to be based on their work, fit their work, that it was digitalized and relevant to everyday practice. And why was it different in different countries across Europe? Why have we not got a pan-European system? So Patrick looked at some meetings in France and also in Israel and started to kick around different criteria that we might use for accrediting CME programs, for accrediting conferences. And they looked at the independence of the material at the conference, the relevance and the quality of any agenda, the likelihood that that content might be able to improve the quality of practice, and the quality of the organization of the conference. And he sort of built some feedback around those for the 2 conferences that he looked at. In the workshop, we considered what might be important issues to think about. Obviously, as we think about a pan-European system, there are obviously multiple languages across the EU, across Europe, and that might be a factor in terms of accrediting conferences. If you're going to accredit a conference, it probably means that you need accreditors in every country, which obviously is a bit of a challenge, potentially. We talked about cost. How much might a platform, a pan-European platform, cost to set up and implement, and how much would you have to pay per conference to have your conference accredited? And then really the acceptability of a system. Obviously every country has their own system in place, and are we bringing in competition to that, or can it seamlessly run alongside it? As I said, Mark from UM's was there, and he briefly talked to us about the system they already have in place. We had representatives from Spain and Portugal, and they are currently using this system, and they use it to link with their colleagues in South America. Mark talked about the costs. It costs 70,000 euros to set up. And I think my understanding is that UM's absorbed that cost. Could be wrong, and I'll stand corrected if I am. And as you accredit a course, then you pay a fee to UM's for that accreditation. The accreditation the accreditation is given to you by UM's, but the professional body in each country assures the content, and then the government organization in each country affords you the credits, the educational credits for attending. And obviously at the moment, if your country does not have an agreement with UMs, then you can't get accreditation with their platform, which is currently the situation in most countries across Europe. So, we discussed all the various systems in each of the countries that were present, and then we thought about, well, what do we really want from this? Do we want accreditation of courses that you might attend outside your country of origin? So actually your country system is applicable for you, but if you travel outside, so for instance, if I went to a conference in France, how would I know that that conference was accredited? And how would people in my country understand what that accreditation might mean? So that was a real positive use for a pan-European accreditation system. And also, are we looking at a standardized mechanism of recording your educational activity? It was quite clear from the conversation yesterday that everybody's system is slightly different. Patrick presented a demonstration of a platform that he's putting together that could form the basis of a UEMO platform. He showed us a demonstration of it, and the page that we saw really referred to if you remember, to the criteria, it referred to the organization of the quality of the conference, the organization aspect of the conference. And it was a very simple tick box exercise, and it looked a really straightforward and easy to use platform. And he assures me that there's not very much, if not zero cost in the development of that platform, which clearly might be, I'm sure it is, of interest to all of us. So, having heard the discussion, having seen the demonstration, we then decided on a few actions. And the first agreement was that more information was needed about what was happening in each country. And so we decided that perhaps we'd do a survey of UEMO members, find out what the CME accreditation process is like in your country, offer some explanation of what the UM system is and what the UEMO system could offer, try and minimize the number of questions, not to overload people with additional work, and have this on a sort of qualitative basis that we could then bring back and analyze. The next meeting in October, we would provide a summary of that survey and perhaps a draft proposal on what the next steps in terms of a platform might be. Thank you. Very happy to, I'm sure Patrick might be happy to add